God told a prophet to go east. The prophet's wife got on a ship going west. What happened next is one of the wildest, most human stories in the Bible. And it holds a massive lesson that most people completely miss. We all know the traditional tale. Jonah got swallowed by a big fish. But the fish isn't really what this story is about. Jonah's journey is about what happens when you run from your purpose, and the relentless God who refuses to let you go. The story begins in an ancient Middle Eastern city. God gave Jonah a specific mission: go to Nineveh and preach against its extreme wickedness. Nineveh was the capital of Assyria, Israel's brutal, terrifying enemy. These people had committed horrific, unforgivable acts against Jonah's nation. So Jonah ran. He went to the seaport of Joppa, found a ship heading to Tarshish, the literal opposite direction, and paid the fare. He went below deck and fell asleep. Notice something fascinating. Jonah didn't argue with God. He didn't debate the mission's morality. He simply left. Sometimes, running away looks incredibly quiet from the outside. God responded by sending an earth-shattering storm. The sailors were experienced, hardened men of the sea, yet they were absolutely terrified. They desperately threw cargo overboard, and each man cried out to his own God. And Jonah? Fast asleep. The captain shook him awake, shouting, "How can you sleep? Call on your God." The sailors cast lots to find out who was responsible for this supernatural disaster. The lot fell on Jonah. They interrogated him, and Jonah confessed, "I am a Hebrew. I worship the Lord, the God of heaven, who made the sea and the dry land, and I am running from him." With the sea getting rougher, Jonah looked at the terrified crew. "Pick me up and throw me into the sea, and it will become calm. I know this storm came because of me." The sailors tried rowing to shore, but couldn't beat the waves. Finally, they prayed for forgiveness and threw Jonah overboard. Instantly, the raging sea went perfectly calm. In absolute awe, the sailors feared God and offered sacrifices. Underneath the calm surface, God provided a great fish to swallow Jonah. For 3 days and 3 nights, Jonah sat in terrifying darkness. But in that impossible place, he finally prayed. His prayer isn't a panicked cry. It is a beautiful song of thanksgiving. He praised God as if his rescue had already happened. "When my life was ebbing away, I remembered you, Lord. Salvation comes from the Lord." On the 3rd day, God commanded the fish, and it vomited Jonah onto dry land. God gave Jonah the exact same command a second time. This time, Jonah obeyed. He walked into the sprawling city of Nineveh. He delivered a very short sermon. 40 more days and Nineveh will be overthrown. Then, the most remarkable thing happened. The Assyrians believed him. The entire city declared a fast. The king took off his royal robes, sat in ashes, and issued a strict decree. Everyone must urgently call on God and abandon their violent ways. Seeing their genuine repentance, God relented and chose not to destroy Nineveh. An entire wicked empire turned to God through one reluctant prophet. Here is where the real meaning reveals itself. Jonah was furious. He marched outside the city, sat down and yelled at God, "This is exactly why I ran. I knew you were gracious and compassionate. I knew you were slow to anger and abounding in love. I knew you would forgive them." Jonah wanted his enemies completely destroyed, not saved. To teach him a lesson, God made a leafy plant grow over Jonah to give him shade. Jonah loved it. But at dawn, God sent a worm to eat the plant, and a scorching wind to beat down on Jonah. Jonah was so angry about the dead plant that he wanted to die. God then asked the ultimate question. "You cared deeply about a plant that you didn't tend. Should I not care about Nineveh, a city with more than 120,000 human beings who don't know their right hand from their left?" The book abruptly ends right there with a question. Jonah's real problem wasn't fear. It was that he knew God's incredible mercy, and he stubbornly refused to see it extended to his enemies. The book of Jonah asks us a piercing question. Are we willing to let God love the people we think don't deserve it? If this story made you think, please like and subscribe. Drop in the comments. Is there someone you are finding hard to show grace to? Let's talk below.